This week on the Fantasy Football Draft, I'm hoping to end a 4-game losing streak. Tomas and Nicholas try distance themselves from the bottom of the table. Meanwhile, Fuelon continues to pursue Ahmed at the top of the table. Welcome to Game Week 24. So while I went heavy with the double game week players, I noticed that Ross decided against that. However, I've been playing long enough to not get too excited too quickly. Thankfully, the extra players and games did not affect the outcome of the week. The score was 50-31 before the extra games were played, as by then I increased the lead by another 20 points to end the round 70-31.
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Sorry about that, Russ. Finally managed to play all 3 villain players when they kept a clean sheet just before Cash got injured. The back 5 this time did what was expected of them and they played their part. Even Mahrez managed to get in on the action. I was pulling my hair out at Barnes in the Palace game as Rodriguez looked like the better pick this week. However, I'm glad he contributed against Fulham. Ross was unlucky with Kane and Watkins not getting much against City or Brighton. He chose Odegaard over his new signing Diange, who managed to score against Manchester United. Ben Mee and Sofal were the only ones to contribute to his 31 points, which would not be good enough to win a normal game week, never mind a double. Next up, another bottom of the table clash, Nicholas versus Tomas. He was 1 point behind Nick before this game and he accomplished what he needed to do. Once again, Gundogan has come to his aid with 19 points and his City defence both coming up too. Neves was comfortable as he dispatched Southampton and a brave decision to select his substitute keeper Areola of Fulham to have it pay off. Nicholas perhaps a little unfortunate with the same amount of players, however the Everton defeat to Fulham hurting his score badly. I would have expected more myself from Souček against Sheffield, but in some good news, Phil Foden continues to find form and De Bruyne returned for 10 minutes to show signs of recovery for upcoming game weeks. The final score, Tomas 69, Nicholas 51. A couple of weeks back this would have been a clash between the top two, however Alex and his absence can only carry him so far. Ahmed still had a job to do with Fuelon not showing any signs of easing up the pressure. Ahmed perhaps has to thank Harvey Barnes, who I think, despite being the opening game, those final 10 minutes for Leicester gave Harvey Barnes those 10 points. Had it gone the other way, Salah may have gotten a clean sheet and man of the match. McNeil was also a fantastic signing that I tried to get myself, and Fernandes and Cresswell once again making sure to do their part for the team. Alex has been falling down the table each week, with Thiago Silva and Zaha still out injured, which could be part of the problem. Martial couldn't break down West Brom, which I would find very disappointing. Is this the end for Alex and his title hopes, or can he pull back next week? It finished Ahmed 57, Alex 44. Now we get to the game of the week between two sides at each end of the table. It's Niall versus Fuelon. Fuelon was looking to keep his winning streak as he continued to climb to the top of the table. Meanwhile, Niall looking to pick up some momentum to match the form of his City players. Fuelon went and did it the hard way, coming away with a very close win, having the audacity to bench 20-point Aubameyang, who could very well have punished him, quite similar to when he beat Ross by 3 points with 15-point Bamford on the bench. That Greenwood signing could very well have been disastrous if not for Lowton and Ederson having a remarkable games, and Lingard and Ings playing their part. Niall continues to be a threat to all teams, which is not good news for me. The same 3 City players have once again come up for him a 3rd week in a row. Maddison, Werner and Pope also had another good week each. Niall had 3 substitutes this week, Basham, Lindelof and Ayew, and you'd have to think if United beat West Brom as expected and perhaps kept a clean sheet, the result may have been different. But in the end, it's Fuelon 64, Niall 61. So after that very close matchup, it is as expected at the top between Ahmed and Fuelon. Alex and Ross not keeping up the pace, which opens the door for Tomas, who is looking to break into that top 4 position. However, Nicholas is not entirely out of the picture either. Niall loses and a win for myself is a familiar sight, but I'm still 3 wins away from just breaking even with him. There is just one more weekend to go as we get closer to the biggest event that is Lethal League Year. There are some massive showdowns coming, but first let's get through Game Week 25. And look who's joining us.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
Yes, it's the 3rd double game week of this season, however I would consider this one being the closest of them all. As it may not feel like one since there is only one extra game, still, it's a double game week nonetheless. I may feel like a broken record, but every week never looks easy. Two sides which look incredibly strong on paper, however with European football back it could affect both our sides. Rafinha returns to the starting 11 alongside new signing Pascal Stroke as I look to take advantage of the extra games for Leeds. Aina in defence for Fulham may be a risk, but after their recent results they may carry some confidence into their next game. Pascal Gross is the last player I signed as I watched Brighton pile on the pressure to Aston Villa with 26 shots last week. Barnes remains up front despite Rodriguez being a tempting switch, and I still trust Martinez in goal over Alisson. Moss with Gundogan is the fear factor here. He missed Wednesday's game with a knock and Pep Guardiola may rest him as well as others before the Champions League this week, which may work in my favour. However, Tomas has looked towards Wolves for backup, including an old player of mine, Pedro Neto. I did make the attempt to re-sign Neto, however Pedro said he had no interest and thought he has a better chance at a top 4 finish anywhere else. Which means the winner of this game week could come down to the first game between Wolves and Leeds. So that will do it for now. Once again, I appreciate it so much for tuning in. Best of luck with your squads for the weekend. Stay safe out there and we'll catch you next time. See ya.